Welcome back to Rubbin Minds. Now, for our entertainment segment, our focus moves to Nollywood. Now, there's been a lot of expectation and hope in the air that just as Afrobeat has become a major export for Nigeria, you go all over the world and you hear Nigerian music. There's that expectation that Nollywood's time has come, that we'll go all over the world and our films will be watched. And when we look at the coming of more streamers into Nigeria, as well as cable TV operators, as well as cinemas, then there's a lot of hope that this will become a reality in the foreseeable future. Now, to discuss the film industry, look at the cinemas, look at the streaming platforms, and generally Nollywood, I have with me Julie Akor, a creative entrepreneur. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
Thank you for honoring our invitation. Now, when you look at Nollywood, do you believe Nollywood has that potential and has what it takes to be the Afrobeat in the music world? Can we really penetrate the US, Canada, all over the world the way our music has done?
Thank you very much for that question. I'm a huge fan of Afrobeat, so it's interesting because being a filmmaker myself, I've also had the chance to look into the industry and try to understand what works, why that went as viral as it did. And I think what stood out for the musicians at the time is the authenticity and standing true to what they believed. Even at the time when it wasn't recognizable sound, it was still, fuzzy, but there were people who stood their grounds. And if you look at the industry in Nollywood, do we have such people? Do we have people who are telling stories so authentically that it's different from, just what's general or what's stereotypical? And yes, we do have those people, and that's what's even giving me so much joy, knowing that the presence of the strength, the resilience, and the authenticity is in the industry. It's just for us to tap into it. And then, with the consistency that the Afrobeat artists add, we definitely have that chance to be as successful, if not even more.
Okay. Now, when you say Afrobeat, if you hear an Afrobeat song, you'll know. Yeah. If you hear an Amapiano song or a reggae song or classical music, you'll be able to recognize it. Yeah. Do you feel that we have what is an authentic Nollywood style, an authentic Nollywood genre? Or some will argue that some of what we're seeing in Nollywood is basically what has been done in Hollywood, and we just put it in a Nigerian setting. Now, when you look at Bollywood, on the other hand, there are certain things that make a Bollywood movie a Bollywood movie. So do we have those things to make it an authentic Nollywood movie?
Yeah. So your first question, if there is a Nollywood genre, if there is a style, some film scholars in the industry would say yes. There are some patterns when you compare a couple of films. There is also a very dramatic energy to what they call a Nollywood film, and it resonates with audiences. And when there's that connection, then it's a thing. So I would say to a large extent, yeah, there could be something we call the Nollywood genre. But beyond that is that there are diverse voices within the industry. So yes, we do have that energy, but we also have the auteurs, we have the people coming in with their unique perspectives. And so long that the industry allows those different voices to thrive, then we can watch and see which stands out. But at the core of it, storytelling is universal. If I'm telling you something here, I'm talking about a child and a mom, whatever emotion it evokes in you, it should be able to evoke that same emotion, even you are in Sweden or you're in Australia. So if we are able to understand those basics, I think, yeah, definitely that our stories can stand out.
Now, I'd like to look at the issue of language. So a lot of those, say, Indian movies, they're not in English, so we read the subtitles. And for growing up in this country, we would watch, say, Mexican soap operas, Portuguese soap operas in their language, and then we're just seeing the English subtitles. So do you feel that filmmakers in the industry are ready to take that risk to go all out and do movies in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, but in other languages like, say, Ijo, Urobo, Birom, or even languages that are not seen as, say, mainstream?
Yeah, I hope that we're thinking like that. Personally, I am. I really love our original languages. I look forward to making a film in my language, Nesako. But also we do have films in Igbo, in Yoruba, in Hausa, and probably started from that anyway. So I think what we need to do more is do it with more intentionality and not just doing it just to sound different. We're doing it with a concept that I'm portraying this glorious Nigerian personality, this character that embodies this experience, right? So like Mami Water, for example, it's a recent film by C.J. Obasi. It embodies the authenticity, but it's not a particular language. It embodies the African glory, and I'm so proud of that work. And it did that with language, but the language didn't have to be, like you said, mainstream or conventional. It's all about crafting the story with an intention. So if we do have the intention, if the language pushes your intention forward, go for it. If the language is just there and makes no, then you are doing you're just doing it for doing sake, and that's still going to fall off the wayside. Yeah.
Okay. I know some filmmakers are striving to do it in the local language because of the consideration at the Oscars, because that's a major requirement. But now I want us to look at distribution, because for many years, Nollywood has been bedeviled by the pirates. It's been one issue or the other. We don't have enough cinemas, or we have limited streamers. What do you make of the coming of, say, foreign streamers? The cinema culture in Nigeria? Do you feel that these are enough to give enough outlets for distribution, or more needs to be done? And if more needs to be done, in what area? Do we need more streamers? Do we need more cinemas, for example?
Yeah, thank you for that question, because money is such an important metric, in measuring the success of a film as well. It's one-off. And streaming platform has really given us a chance to see other options, right? Creating different avenues to make your income. Whether or not it's enough it's still a growing industry. The cinema culture is small, but it could be better if it could be bigger if there are lots more options. I don't think we have enough cinema that can cater to the people who want to go to the cinema, and for the streaming platform as well, there is still a lot more people that could access it, right? But what I have noticed is that they serve different people. And if we are able to recognize what other method can we serve the other, the audiences that we've not connected with, because Nigeria is a very unique industry, it's a very unique country in itself, and it reflects in our industry too. So there are people who can afford to do the cinema, there are those who can afford to do the streaming. There are other ways to reach those, because everyone wants to be entertained. Everyone loves a good story. So story should not be a luxury, but find a way to reach those people and still make income from there. So I would say that the presence of these streamers have told us there can be other avenues. Probably look inward, create as much that you can, and maintain, the ones that you already have, the cinemas. The cinemas are not going to replace streaming. Streaming is not going to replace cinema. They all offer different experiences.
Interesting that you say one doesn't replace the other. I would like you to go back to the issue of money, because at the end of the day, an industry like Nollywood requires injection of capital. Films are expensive to produce. TV series are expensive to produce. And they also offer the opportunity of creating employment. So how well will you rate Nollywood in contributing economically to Nigeria and also reducing unemployment?
101%. I rate us doing well. When the industry was paid the least attention to, when no funding was going in there, it spent years giving employment, giving hope, giving making use of time and resources in form of humans, right? And that has given so many people a sense of belonging, and that they connect to a community and they can make money from that community. So yes, the industry serves people. It's employed millions of entrepreneurs. It's given, without having so much barrier to entry. So the talent is there. But it's also a bit haphazard. It started that way because everyone is trying. We just created little silos to serve ourselves. But now I think we are doing more intentionality in creating the structure that will help talents, that would help crew members, that would help you funders and those looking for funds. There's a wide gap here. I would not say that we've gotten it figured out, but yeah, that's where people like us, you know, young filmmakers, creative entrepreneurs that are thinking about the solutions that would bring in the structure for a more long-term benefit for the industry. Yeah, that's what we need to do.
So we still need a lot more capital injection into the industry.
Yes, we need a lot more, but my point is that we need to look at creating the structure where...
When you say creating the structure, we have a new government and we have new ministers, and I believe that all eyes are on the minister. I'll say arts and culture, that could be the ministry that a lot of film and music and that kind of thing goes under. Now, what are your expectations from this government? What can this government be doing in terms of policy, in terms of even provision of that structure you're talking about, or capital, or what can they do, or what should they be doing to ensure that this industry really develops to its full potential?
Yeah, thank you for that. There is a lot the government can be doing. You know, if you compare to other industries that are thriving, the government have they are more intentional about the entertainment industry. There are funds that, you know, the filmmakers can access. They, you know, push for collaborations, policies that allow for international other filmmakers to want to collaborate or co-produce with their own countries. So these are the things that I feel our government should look at. When you have funds that is accessible by the professionals in this industry, you create policies that protect their interests, and then there is avenue to grow the talent, because for the longest, a lot of us have just had to do so many things ourselves, learn by, you know, self-learn. So the institutions are not a lot, but, you know, you could see with even the Lagos state government and some certain production studios, they've collaborated in creating facilities for people to study and, you know, learn more about this craft. So these are, I hope that the industry, the government that we have now is going to be, you know, intentional about investing in this entertainment industry, because it has its most vibrant energy exists there. We see it in the music industry as well. So if your vibrant energy exists here, you want to keep them alive. You want to keep them excited. You want to keep them motivated. And these are the things that would actually work. Those policies, those funding, yes, we could definitely do that.
And now when you look at Nollywood, there are different factions in Nollywood. You have like the Yoruba-speaking Nollywood. You have the Nollywood that goes to the cinema. You have the Asaba Nollywood. You have, you have almost like different grades of these films. And when you look at the box office or streaming numbers, a lot of times we still see that preference for foreign movies. We still see that preference for movies that look like they were made abroad, as opposed to those, say, very indigenous movies. So what can be done to also get Nigerians patronizing Nigerian movies? Nigerians paying their subscriptions to streamers to watch Nigerian movies, or going to the cinema and seeking out Nigerian movies?
Thank you. You know, I initially said that we have such a very unique audience sect. Even, but when you say we have these different creators, these different producers, they are not, I don't see one as a segment that is outside of, you know, personally, I think that they're catering to an existing audience, and sometimes it can, you know, interchange. We've seen that with some of Funke Akindele's movie where, you know, box office story and everyone is going to see it in the cinema that, you know, probably we're not used to seeing in the cinema. So, but then there are formats, right, of films. Some formats are made for cinema, some formats are made straight to TV, some formats are made for streaming. When you consider the format and create your film in accordance with that format, then you are, you know, indeed being cautious about your end goal, your target audience, right? So there are times when there's some really amazing stuff you find on YouTube. I mean, I watched I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but this
so
movie...
it's looking at your intended audience
yes,
and
your target.
looking at how best to serve them
Exactly.
and on what platform. Thank you so much, Julie Acker, for sharing your contributions on Nollywood.
Thank you for
on
having
Rubbin
me.
Minds.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.